Dear colleagues, we're happy to be able to talk to you, even though it must be via internet. Unfortunately, the pandemic has ruined well-made plans and even taken many lives. In January, our good friend and a great musician, Karelinist Елизавета Rulova, passed away. She will be deeply missed. We said farewell to Liz by playing a memorial concert, and in the future we are planning to dedicate more concerts to her. Now, a few words about the key events in Russian carillon life in past 4 years. Throughout the year, whatever the weather, we hold concerts every Sunday, both in St. Petersburg and Belgorod. Every summer except for 2020, we organize a traditional festival, Music Over the City. One of the festival concerts is always performed by the students of the Department of Organ, Harpsichord and Carillon of the St. Petersburg University. Olesya Rostovskaya's Fantasy for the Carillon and Russian Bells was performed along with a more traditional repertoire. Our tower in St. Petersburg is the only place in the world where the same building houses both a carillon and the bells of a Russian peals zvon. We have also carried out autumn festivals called Carillon and Russian Bells, which combined both bell cultures. Members of the Russian Guild have been on the guest tours to various countries, in particular to Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, France, USA and the Republic of Ireland. A Carillon Plus concert performed on a glass carillon in Utrecht included music for the glass bells and electronics. We have also received carillonists from Germany, Australia and Lithuania. Reports on the carillon were contributed to the several componology conferences in Russia. In 2019, a regular festival took place in Belgorod. Carillonists traveling around the region with a mobile carillon and also in the concert with the orchestra of the Belgorod Philharmonic. The Belgorod Mobile Carillon also gave a concert in Yekaterinburg. In December 2019, we celebrated the 75th anniversary of Johansen, professor of the Carillon department, the only such department in Russia, and the person responsible for reviving the carillon culture in Russia. In the autumn of 2020, the carillon was included in Amazing People, a popular TV program giving many more people an idea of the instrument, even in the country's most remote corners. Also, in the autumn of 2020, an educational cycle of short programs on the carillon appeared on the YouTube channel of Museum of the History of St. Petersburg. Each part includes English subtitles, so join us every Tuesday. In November 2020, Russia was involved in the World Carillon Project, launched by the American composer David Ciari. A second volume of new arrangements for a 2-octave instrument Let's Play Carillon was published, and several new arrangements of classical music have been made. A new Like Breath album consisting of carillon improvisations have been issued and can be accessed on web portals Bandcamp and Native DSD. We hope that we have left lockdown behind. We have resumed our Sunday day concerts and are planning another summer Music Over the City festival. In 2021, we will celebrate the 20th anniversary of the St. Petersburg Carillon and will do everything we can to make a truly special event. We also plan to hold another festival in Belgrade and will issue new album of Carillon recordings. Thank you for your time. Take care and stay safe.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Serge Joris, speaking on behalf of the board of the Association Campanaire Wallonne, in English, the Walloon Campanological Association, representing the carillonneurs of the French-speaking part of Belgium. A few slides will explain who we are and what we do. Together with the Netherlands, Flanders and northern France, Wallonia once belonged to the famous Low Countries, from which it inherited a lively carillon culture. With its 23 concert carillons and a population of 3.5 million people, Wallonia has a fairly high carillon density, amounting to roughly 6 concert carillons per million inhabitants. The objectives of our association are to protect, promote and develop the campanological patrimony of Wallonia, including not only its carillons, but also its pill bells and tower clockworks, since these elements are often interconnected. Our association is now 26 years old. Its membership is of about 200 members. A few years ago, the carillon culture of Belgium was recognized by the UNESCO as an example of best practice of safeguarding of an intangible cultural heritage. Together with our colleagues from Flanders, we participate to the efforts of the Belgian Carillon Heritage Committee to ensure that the commitments made with the UNESCO are met. Since the previous Congress of the World Carillon Federation, carillon concerts and festivals were organized on a regular basis in several localities of Wallonia. Most of them were kept in 2020, despite the restrictions due to COVID-19 epidemic. Since the previous Congress, we published 13 issues of the Bulletin Campanaire, the periodical publication of our association. Each of these issues contains articles on historical, cultural and technical aspects of carillons, pill bells and tower clockworks, as well as regional, national and international news in these fields. In 2018, we carried out and published a survey on the status of the carillonneurs in Wallonia, their duties, their degree of satisfaction, their relations with the owners of their carillons, etc. In 2019, a fifth carillon class was opened in Wallonia. The location of these 5 classes is such that carillon teaching is now available from east to west of Wallonia. Nice exchanges of experience have taken place between these carillon classes. And in the last years, more and more carillonneurs of Wallonia are taking carillon lessons at the Carillon School of Mechelen. In 2018, the city of Tournai organized a carillon competition for young carillonneurs on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the death of the well-known composer Géo Clément. Good to mention also that the mobile carillon Queen Fabiola is back again on the roads, bringing the carillon culture even closer to the population. As I said, our association is dealing not only with carillons, but also with pill bells and tower clockworks. our Committee on Bells patiently tracks down the historical bells of our region. That means the bells cast before the French Revolution. As of today, more than 600 bells are registered in that category. Our biggest challenge in that field is to avoid the loss of peel bells because of the more and more frequent closure and selling of churches. In that respect, our guild has published a position paper to make the decision makers aware of the value of their campanological patrimony and of the necessity to safeguard it. The same is true for their mechanical tower clockworks. In summary, our association is playing a major role in promoting the carillon culture in Wallonia, in building bridges between carillonneurs of Wallonia on regional, national and international level, and in transmitting the art of the carillon to the younger generations. Our association is also recognized as playing a major role in tracking down unknown elements of our campanological patrimony, such as historical bells and mechanical tower clockworks, and in motivating the competent authorities to responsibly manage this tangible and intangible campanological heritage. I thank you very much for your attention and wish you a pleasant Congress.
We all here at the British Carillon Society hope that you and your families are keeping safe and well despite the COVID. With regret, I have to report the recent deaths of two of our most prominent and respected members, namely Ian W. Brunt on the 5th of January, followed almost unbelievably a few weeks later on the 15th of February by John R. Knox. Both have been presidents of our society, and both have been city carillonneurs at the Civic Centre Carillon in Newcastle on Tyne. They took a great deal of interest in the carillon world, in addition to other forms of music. Many of you will have pleasant memories of both, and they will be greatly missed. Over the last few years, one of the most important things occurring was a successful transfer of the Parkgate School 37-bell carillon at Charterhouse, now at Charterhouse School near Guildford in Surrey. This instrument had been badly neglected for many years, the bells and frames always having been open to the elements. The children had been allowed to bash the clavier keys to sound the change of lessons, and the school is now finally closed. In contrast, at Charterhouse, the carillon is now under the control of the music department and treated seriously, with occasional playing by students and one of the staff at J. Mill Sutton. Having only 15, as it were, proper carillons in the British Isles, most appear to be played reasonably often, normally, and to what is required locally. For obvious reasons, COVID has restricted some playing during 2020, but not all carillons have been affected, as recent contacts in March this year have shown. Bourneville has been played almost normally by Trevor Workman, including Christmas and Saturday afternoon recitals. Others that have continued during 2020 were Aberdeen, Cove, Kilmarnock, Loughborough and Newcastle, mostly at their normal times. The council at Loughborough asked for the playing to stop after last Christmas to avoid groups forming in Queen's Park. In theory, St Helens Carillon is playable, but the tower roof leaks. It has done for years and is causing serious problems and has silenced the tower. The pandemic has meant church closures and affected playing at Dumbarton and Perth. Unfortunately, at Perth, an automatic system has been installed. Damage done by an incompetent players and playing is now considerably restricted, all without, unfortunately, prior reference to the current carillonneur. The carillon at York is being regularly played by Steve Griffiths and 3 others, except when the Minster has been closed for services because of the COVID restrictions. The Bond Street London carillon is undergoing some overhaul by a firm who have not been involved with carillon restorations for years and is obviously causing problems. The carillon at Saltley Roman Catholic Church in Birmingham is having an extremely protracted overhaul by John Taylor and Company. This is a rewiring of the transmission, coil springs, etc. In both cases, the instruments do not have practice claviers, so obviously the relevant carillonneurs are getting very frustrated and out of practice. On a much brighter note, John Taylor and Company are having a great deal of work done to the building, having received a generous grant. The museum is being moved to the former tuning shop, and the old carillon tower is being completely restored, I quote, from the weather vane downwards. The 15-bell chime has been dismantled and individual bells will be sold elsewhere. A brand new 47-bell carillon is to be installed with a base bell of just over 1 ton. The main entrance to the foundry will be through the bottom of the carillon tower. This is good news for the carillon world, and it is hoped to be completed during 2024 or 25. With that heartwarming note, I wish you from here, all of you, good health and success in future times.
dat het de koning heeft behaagd aan de Nederlandse klokkenspelvereniging het predicaat koninklijk toe te kennen.
fijnste dan een Amsterdammer te zijn.
Ladies and gentlemen, as chairman of the Royal Dutch Carillon Association, I'm very proud to share with you today some highlights, some events of the last years. To start with 2018. 2018 was a very special year for the Dutch Carillon Association. In 2018, the Dutch Carillon Association celebrated her 100th birthday. It has been an exciting year for all of us. A year round with a wide range of festivities, traditional activities with roots in the past, but also activities to meet the challenges of the future. On the occasion of the 100-year anniversary, His Majesty, King William Alexander, has decided that the Dutch Carillon Association should receive the designation Royal. And this is a very high designation, the highest any association can receive in the Netherlands. And we are very proud of it. And from now on, the Dutch carillonneurs are members of the Royal Dutch Carillon Associations. The year 2019 was quite a different year. As we go back in history, in September 1944, the liberation of the Netherlands started with Operation Market Garden, known by the topic of the classic music A Bridge Too Far. 75 years later, in September 2019, the Dutch carillonneurs started the celebration of 70 years of freedom. From September 2019 until May 2020, a carillon relay was organized from the south to the north, from Maastricht to Groningen, from the east, Enschede, to the west, to the city of The Hague. Playing their carillons, the Dutch carillonneurs felt connected to the past, to the Allied troops, but also connected to each other. This relay promoted connection between colleagues and generations. 2020 has been a very special year for you all over the world, but also for us in the Netherlands. 2020, in March, the COVID-19 pandemonium struck the Netherlands very strong. And the first months ended in a complete lockdown for the whole country, nationwide. At the same moment, the Royal Dutch Carillon Association was preparing the second stage of the National Carillon Rally. The start of the second stage was foreseen on the 1st of April in the east part of the Netherlands. But authorities cancelled all official inaugurations of the celebrations of 70 years of freedom because of public health. We, the board of the Royal Dutch Carillon Association, convinced local and regional authorities and the media that carillons are the only instruments to give concerts, live concerts, completely safe for the public. And on the 1st of April, the Carillon of Enschede was the only instrument giving a live concert on national television at the official inauguration of the celebrations. And this was a big game changer. In March, the first months of the lockdown, the local authorities had forbidden carillon concerts. But now, from now on, the authorities started to ask carillonneurs to play. And on King's birthday, the 27th of April, a public holiday, the carillon was heard on prime time on national television. The same happened on the Liberation Day, the 5th of May. This engagement of carillonneurs was continued ever since the first lockdown, as social media have had a great impact on the visibilities of the carillonneurs. The website and the Facebook page are very popular and really viral on Instagram went the carillonneur of Groningen when he posted on Facebook a carillon medley of the Rolling Stones. Singer Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones shared that video on Instagram with his 2 million fans. And thanks to Mick Jagger, the song Painted Black, Angie and Ruby Tuesday on Carillon went all over the world in November 2020. In a way, the COVID-19 pandemonium has been a blessing in disguise for the carillons in the Netherlands. And I would say, come, see and enjoy in 2023. I hope to meet you all in Utrecht. Welcome to the Netherlands.
It is with great pleasure that we invite you to take part in the 21st World Carillon Congress in Utrecht, the Netherlands. The Congress will be hosted by the Royal Dutch Carillon Association together with the Utrecht Carillon Society in cooperation with the Utrecht Early Music Festival and under the patronage of the Mayor of Utrecht.
In case you are wondering where I'm standing right now, this is the rooftop of our city hall. Here you have a first-class view of the medieval city of Utrecht, with our wharves and our canals and our famous Dam Tower, 112 meter high and very well known among carillonists. From rock to folk and from classic to pop, all are being played on different instruments and, as you know, even of the carillons of our city's bell towers, such as the Dam Tower. When the carillons of our bell towers are played, You can hear and you can feel the music. It is like the heartbeat of our city. When you visit the Congress in Utrecht in 2023, you and the audience will be amazed and I would say satisfied to the max. So come, play it, hear it, feel it, and above all, enjoy the sound of our vibrant city. Dear Carillonists of the world, I would like to invite you to Utrecht, proud host of your World Carillon Congress 2023.
Utrecht is situated in the center of the Netherlands, easily accessible and providing state-of-art facilities in a beautiful medieval setting. The atmosphere in the city is a mix of academic life, local city center residents, happy tourists, and excited cultural visitors. They are all experiencing the old tradition of automatic quarter-hourly carillon tunes and weekly carillon recitals. Utrecht has a vibrant carillon community and culture. The city nurtures a rich heritage of advancement in carillon tuning and performance. For example, some of the first bells that were cast and tuned by the Heymony brothers together with the Utrecht carillonneur and master Jacob van Eyck can still be heard today as part of the historical Dom and Nicolai Church carillons. Our Congress will focus on the professional carillonist. Through a combination of lectures and workshops, the participants in the conference will examine, challenge, inspire, and innovate. This conference will offer another unique experience by teaming up with the world-renowned Utrecht Early Music Festival with an audience size of around 70,000. Our Congress visitors will be able to experience even more areas of Utrecht cultural life. The Congress will take place from August 24th until August 28th, followed by 3-day post-Congress from August 29 until August 31st. The Congress theme is Profession, Carillonist, Changing Perspectives. The scope of the Congress will not be limited to the instrument and its repertoire. We will look at the people behind the machine, the carillonist who must fulfill many roles and master many different skills in order to be successful. Carillonists are not only musicians with a broad repertoire, they regularly find themselves in the role of a manager, mechanic engineer, marketeer, public relation officer, entertainer, educator, guide, creative director in university and city communities, and defender and champion of cultural heritage. This is what makes the job of a carillonist so exciting. The goal of our Congress is to inspire carillonists to examine and further develop our profession from different perspectives. Some key points of our conference are continuous learning, new inspiration, masterclass, fun and interactive. Being a musician provides an opportunity and an obligation for continuous learning and training. A professional carillonist who plays an active role in the community must feel comfortable with a whole range of musical styles. How do we go about organizing our own learning? Finding inspiration is very often the first step when we work on improving ourselves. But how do we find inspiration? Our goal is to trigger this creative process in workshops throughout the Congress. Masterclasses will be an important part of the Congress. The partnership with the Utrecht Early Music Festival is a great opportunity for participants to have first-hand experience with world-renowned authorities in the field of early music. The Congress aims to be fun and interactive, to encourage its participants to spend time discussing, exchanging ideas, devising new projects, and challenging one another in an entertaining way. Plenty of time will be left to interact and relax with colleagues and invited guests. Utrecht is a vibrant and ambitious city which will fuel our innovative energy. I will now give you a global overview of the program. On day 1, you will be welcomed in Utrecht and invited to take part in the Jacob van Eyck City Walk, introducing you to the places when Van Eyck used to live, work, and perform. In the evening, you can enjoy dinner with your friends and colleagues at the unique location of Speelklok Museum. This is followed by the bell ringing and a carillon concert on the Dom Tower. Van Eyck is our starting point and inspiration to focus on the mechanical aspect of the carillon on day 2. We will not only concentrate on the sound and tuning of bells, but also on the carillon as an ingenious machine. Van Eyck inspired the Heymony brothers to create the perfectly tuned bells we now enjoy in the towers of the Dom and Nicolai Church. Perhaps it is thanks to him that the profession of carillonist still exists today. The day will end on a high when we are welcomed as guests of the Utrecht Early Music Festival at the opening concert in the splendid concert hall Tivoli Vredenburg. The only one early music carillon festival takes place during this festival. The carillon recitals follow the same theme as the main festival. The importance of such promotion of our instrument is enormous. Early music specialists very much appreciate the significance of keeping historical instruments alive. As an original historic instrument, the Heymony carillon of 1664 fits exactly into this perspective. We will devote day 3 of our conference to improving our skills in arranging, performing, and understanding Baroque music. On the 4th day, we will concentrate on the job of carillonist in practice. From the musical perspective, we will explore topics such as pop and jazz music and making light repertoire work on the carillon. The formal dinner and inspiring concert at the Haar Castle will complete the day. Day 5 is all about lifelong learning. We will travel to the city of Amersfoort, where we will try to answer questions like: should we be concerned about carillon education? Is it still necessary to have carillon schools? How do we attract new students? How can we finance carillon education? How do we best prepare the students for the complex job as a job of university city carillonist? But also, how do we educate the city residents and authorities on carillon culture? And then, after 5 intensive days of learning and concentrating, it's time to relax. During the 3 post-Congress days, you will have a choice between joining the scheduled day trips or attending one of the concerts of the Utrecht Early Music Festival. On day 6, a boat trip will take us on a musical tour along the river Vecht, with its beautiful landscapes and country houses dating from 17th and 18th century. And, of course, we will make few stops to listen to carillon recitals. Day 7 will bring us to the city of Breda, south of the Dutch Delta. As far as today's residents of Breda can remember, the carillonneur of Breda has always been a member of a Maassen family. The year 2023 will mark the centenary of this family's contribution to the town's culture, a reason to celebrate. And there's another reason to visit Breda in 2023, for then it will have been 10 years ago that Jacques Maassen passed away. We commemorate his contribution to the advancement of the art and profession of the carillonist and the music he wrote. On the last day of our Congress, we will visit one of the most popular cities in the world, Amsterdam, the city of tulips, canals, and fun of all sorts. But most importantly, the city boasts no fewer than 7 carillons. We look forward to hosting the World Carillon Congress and are tremendously excited by the prospect of welcoming you all in Utrecht in 2023.